Contrary to the lazy lion method, which I talked to in a previous video, which essentially is like the lion sleeps, it rests, and then when it smells blood, when it smells an opportunity, it goes out and hunts and takes a big prize. Like, it doesn't settle for some tiny little animal. It goes for a big antelope or zebra or whatever. So contrary to the lazy lion method, semen retention also puts you in this kind of momentum building, fast progress, finishing type state. And really that's the great thing about semen retention, is that it's so fluid. By the way, welcome to Semen Retention, where I talk about things like semen retention, talk about self-improvement, spirituality, all that kind of stuff. And today I've been spending, pretty much the whole day, a solid 5-6 hours in the studio, working on this album that I've been working on all year. It's nearly been a year since I started working on this album, but I'm starting to see things take shape. Things are starting to, get ticked off, and I'm seeing the finishing line. And in my head, I've been like, I don't want to spend so much money and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, I also don't want to leave things stagnated because I'm worried about money. And I think semen retention actually helps you kind of in a way where it makes you take a bit of a risk. Things that are worth it in life are worth the risk. So for me, my music career, my passion for music, my creative outlet being a musician and a songwriter, it's important for me to take the risk of, say, for example, booking in more studio time just so that I push myself over the line, even if that means being in a little bit of like a financial low position where I can't afford to do things like, maybe like do things like go out and enjoy subtle things. I can't enjoy, maybe spending a little bit of money on takeaway food, or, I don't know, buying some things that I like or whatever. All that stuff becomes a bit arbitrary when in comparison to things like, your higher calling, your purpose, your Northern Star. If you're new to the idea of the Northern Star, it basically is like your calling in life, your main direction, your purpose, yeah? And so what I find is that it's worthwhile. It's worthwhile actually, continuing down this straight and narrow path and eventually getting to the point where you are fully aligned with this project, with this mission. Now, it is healthy to set aside some timelines, put together a Gantt chart. I don't know if you guys know what a Gantt chart, but it basically is like a timeline in an Excel spreadsheet. And so what I did is I created this Excel spreadsheet for my album, and I put in drums, bass, guitar, vocals, backing vocals, effects, keyboard, etc. And the purpose of that was to create a chart that was going to push me as far as like seeing it filled out. So each little cell that got filled green, I was like, great, I'm building the album. And then when I got all the bass and drums done, that was cool to see. All the bass and drums were done. And then when I got half of the album's guitars done, that was cool to see that. And then I started to see more and more green, and it was this positive affirmation. Today in my recording session, I kind of hit a bit of a block, and I asked myself the question. I was like, do I keep working on these things that are difficult, or do I work on these things that are easy? And you got to sometimes look at things in a sense of the long game, right? You have a long time to figure out puzzles. Let's say you've got a Sudoku in front of you, and you got these numbers to fill out. One day you're going to look at it and you're going to see some numbers that you missed, and you're like, okay, I'm going to put them in there, okay? But is that going to be a priority compared to, I don't know, taking a shower, brushing your teeth, going for a walk, doing some basic things for your health? Is finishing the Sudoku going to take priority over that? I'd like to think it doesn't, okay? And so what that is in analogy to is when you got major projects, the thing about semen retention, it's going to keep you in touch with your emotions as well. It's going to keep you in touch with just how much energy do you really have. Like, you do have a lot of energy on semen retention, but you don't want to frustrate yourself. So what I did is I was like, okay, this song, despite it being on my list of songs that I wanted to do today, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. You can't force the result. So I ended up moving to another song that I was like, this wouldn't be as hard, and I should be able to get into the character for this song and should be able to deliver the vocals. And I did, and I did really well. And I was like, okay, cool. That's a green box. That's another green box that's been checked. Cool. Well, today I got 2 green boxes checked, and now there's only 2 more to go. And then I've finished half of the album as far as vocal goes. And I'll send them off to get mixed like at the start of September. So things are turning. The wheels keep turning when you're on semen retention. The outcome is eventually going to come to you. As I mentioned in yesterday's video, let the plot find you. Don't chase the plot. You don't have to, try and figure out and force yourself to follow some sort of script. That's not natural. That's not how we, operate in this world. Like, the main thing that you need to realize is that semen retention is like that magnet. It's that inner compass. It's going to guide you, and you're going to feel things through the process of creation, because you're not wasting your creation on something like, lust-driven pursuits. You're actually harnessing this inner energy towards something of, significance, something that actually matters to you. So, for me, it's the music. Maybe for you, it's sculpting your body into the best version of your body you can, be. Maybe you're using this to educate yourself and learn some new skills and become, qualified in a certain kind of trade or whatever. I've got heaps of things that I want to do on this streak. I've got, things 100% related to my business. I've got other things that are like completely, just about self-improvement, becoming better with my entrepreneurial skills, getting better with the current technology, things like AI and all that kind of stuff, and marketing and all that kind of jazz. And the point is that I have the motivation. I've got this fuel inside me that's pushing me towards these outcomes. So whilst we might inhabit the lazy lion and, be just relaxed and chilled and, on the back foot, not even on the back foot, just stagnant, like just resting is the best way to put it. Whilst we might be in those periods of rest on semen retention, as soon as we pull ourselves out of the rest, we're going to go on the front foot, on the attack, and we're going to claim what it is we actually want. So for me, I want to complete this album. I set that goal earlier and I knew that I was going to do it. I've done EPs before, but I was like, okay, it's time to put on my big boy pants and make an album. Despite what everyone else is saying about music these days, I've seen things trend about how AI can make music in literally just a second. I don't care. I don't care what trends and all these kind of things have to say about my craft, because as a connoisseur, meaning someone that actually has a taste for, for art in my field of art, music, I actually have a taste. I actually understand the difference between something that is like high art and something that is just kind of garbage, trash, just like fast food art, right? AI will always be making fast food art in comparison to a human being that has lived with enough emotions and experiences to create a piece of art that is imperfect, but perfect in representing an authentic human being. Whereas AI can't do that. AI can't reflect the imperfections of an authentic human being. And being on semen retention as well, you are also going to be embodying the authentic human being. That's why I made the video last week about semen retention turns you into a bad guy. The reason why semen retention turns you into a bad guy is because you start to just be authentic. You start to see through people's undevelopment and, you know, their ego issues and their kind of like their masks, their fragile kind of, you know, nature that has come from being a Kuma. Like a lot of men out here, like if you were to put them in front of their 18-year-old selves or their 17-year-old selves, those versions of themselves would literally just be like, what have you become? Because what happens is men eventually over time, they become so addicted, they become so, you know, reliant on this stress release of releasing, that they lose their masculinity in the process. And I'm just saying, semen retention will turn you into a bad guy sometimes because you're going to be a pure masculine energy. And like, you will have balancing feminine aspects of yourself because that's important, but you're not going to be folding as much as the modern masculine is doing. And I wouldn't even call it modern masculine because there is barely glimpses of masculinity in today's kind of men. Well, not all of them, but you know what I'm talking about. So I guess let's just round this whole video up. We're cultivating the energy of semen and putting it into our body to give us the energy, not only on a physical kind of muscular level where we can just continue to act, but also to give us the genius, you know, travel through the vagus nerve, travel through all the different parts of our body, you know, the pineal gland where we get the imagination and connection to source and all that kind of stuff, the pituitary gland, etc. Like all those things activate when we have the seminal fluid rising through our body. With that being said, keep your body in an active, moving state. Even if you're sitting down, you can still move with all the ebbs and the flows and the different kind of things that occur whilst, you know, you're just in a seated position. I don't encourage you to just be stiff and a robot in any aspect of your life, okay? Look, think about it. Even if you're enjoying some of your music in your car, just let that energy flow through you. This is the Kundalini type energy. This is the rising kind of building energy inside you. Now, the reason why this is important, I, as an artist, as a performing artist, as a singer, I can't deliver the 100% peak version of myself unless I'm feeling and really sinking into the rhythm of the music that I'm going into now, in the and I'm going with the flow of the music. Yeah, you know, like that's how I deliver a good vocal performance. Is I really lean into the beat, I lean into the groove. Sometimes I sit back behind the groove and I'm a little bit, you know, behind the groove. Then I'm just chilling around the beat. Yeah, you know, like I'm manipulating energy. That's what semen retention allows us to be master of. Manipulating energy. You know, where we feel the energy within us, and when we move, we can manipulate that energy all around different aspects and dimensions of ourself and within our body. So, for example, let's say you're with someone, they're in a bit of like a stagnant kind of grey NPC mood, where they're just like kind of like, oh, did you hear about the news today? And it's just like, you could just use your throat and just be like, how dumb is that? And then they'll be like, what? What are you talking about, bro? Like, and then suddenly you've shocked them into a new way of being, because they've just kind of, they didn't expect someone to just be like, why are we talking about what's going on the news, bro? No one cares about that. You know, like, what I'm trying to say here is that you can use your voice, you can use your body, you can use your mind in a way of ascending the vibration into different realms. And of course, to the point of this whole video, you can use semen retention as a tool to get you to finish those projects, you know, and to get to the finishing line, but not in a scripted way. Just as I said in the previous video, let the plot find you. You know, semen retention is going to put you to the end, but it's not going to be in the way that maybe you've mapped it out. And you just got to accept that. Whereas if you keep releasing and keep falling into this habit, you're going to give yourself excuses as to not to finish these things. You're going to be like, my body's too tired. I don't have the mental clarity. It's like, okay, cool. That's fine. I understand why you don't have the clarity. It's because you keep releasing too much, bro. It's maybe because you're still not working with semen retention to eliminate your addictions and bad habits. So use semen retention as the thing that is going to purify your body, is to make your energy, you know, move very effortlessly and fluid-like throughout this reality. So that way, the results come naturally and they come to you. You attract the results. You're not running after the results. If you enjoyed this video, please like this video. I need the likes on the videos, guys, because I will find new audience. And comment what you think about this video. I want to know, actually, just a question. Are you an artist? Are you a creative person? Let me know. Please tell me, are you a musician? Do you want to make films? Do you write? You know, let me know what your creative outlet is. Do you build things? All that kind of stuff. I'm interested to know. Have a great day. See you on the next video, guys. Subscribe to the channel. Cheers.